Check. Good. So I'm Max Ceron. Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding Podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association Podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and this week we are here at Fabtech Canada. CanWeld. We're co-locating CWB Group with the whole Fabtech team. We're going to have a great week. Today is day one of CanWeld, day two of Fabtech. And it's early. We're rocking and rolling. I'm here with Charlie Griffin from Exocor. How are you doing, Charlie?
Very well.
How's the day been so far?
It's been great. Yesterday we had, today or yesterday?
No, I want to talk about this morning.
Oh.
Yeah, let's start there because I already heard some good stories.
This morning had adventure, I should say. We had a fire alarm at my hotel just after 5 in the morning. I'm usually an early morning riser anyways, but so everybody had to exit the hotel in their jammies or whatever and go to the lawn. And there was, of course, no fire, which is a good thing, but it just... start your day. Interesting.
Yeah, and then you couldn't get your car out of the parking lot?
And then the little guard arm that takes your car out to come here, I said, well, I have plenty of time. I'm going to come here, and it wasn't working. So I Ubered it down here. So I just don't like to be late, so here I am.
Well, let's hope the rest of the day is nothing but awesomeness.
I'm sure it would be.
Yeah. So you're here with Exocor. You're VP of Sales, 18 years with the company. That's a commitment. That's not something that you see very often anymore.
You're right. Yeah, that's a long-term position, and I like my job. I like what I do.
What did you start at, like your position 18 years ago?
I was actually VP of Sales.
Really?
VP of Sales.
Hello, I'm Charlie. Make me the boss. No.
Yeah. Not really, but I owned a distributorship, a gas distributorship. I sold it, and I knew where I wanted to go. I also knew where I didn't want to be. I built a company up with some partners and some good employees, and I knew Exocor well. So I knew when I exited, my old company, the company I had built, was going to be taken care of, but I just didn't want to see it change.
Yeah.
So I had thought I only wanted to go to a couple of different places, possibly.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there was a good spot for me here, and I knew the company well.
So you had been working in the sales field through the distributorship company for a long, long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was for 10 years. I did that. Prior to that, I started in this industry at an independent distributor, going way back, and I started in sales, outside sales, and then I became the sales manager there at that place, and that's where I became familiar with this business.
And when you started down this sales path, almost 30 years ago then, were you in this like field or specter of business working with, the welding industry, or where did you cut your teeth?
I cut my teeth at in industrial sales in primarily Niagara and Hamilton, Ontario, and I was selling pipe, valves, and fittings, so industrial supplies. Yeah. So I knew lots about sales. I knew nothing about welding. Yeah, and I had friends who were with this startup company that was with a new gas supplier in the country, and I had lots of success with what I was doing, but their stories were always more exciting. It was just I got fooled. Yeah. Because it just seemed to be just interesting. They were always trying to attract me to their company. Hey, come on over. You'd be good at this. I don't know anything about welding, So when they finally convinced me, I jumped in. I took a welding course at Niagara College. I enrolled in that course because I needed to know what I was doing.
The jargon even, yeah.
Exactly, right. So I started that prior to me starting with the company, and don't look back.
Awesome.
Here I am.
What was that learning curve like coming into the industry? I mean, selling industrial supplies is going to give you kind of just a taste for the environment, right? Yes. But then getting into the welding bubble, there's a lot.
It's huge. I made the mistake when I first got in this business of thinking that, well, geez, I'll take a course, I'll work hard. I had a nice mentor that was quite helpful. And pretty soon, I'll know everything there is to know about this industry. What a mistake, I got to tell you, because some 30 odd years later, of course, you find out, you discover that nobody knows everything in this industry.
No.
It's too broad, it's too big, but
and always growing. There's
and
always new stuff every day,
absolutely.
which brings us to Fabtech,
yes, that's right.
right? So, you're out here. Do you guys have a booth on the floor?
We do.
And for you and your team coming to Fabtech Canada, with a booth, what is it that you're looking to get out of the conference here? Are you coming here to promote, or are you looking here to make sales, or kind of everything?
A little bit of everything, but I'll tell you, we're certainly well known across the country. But I think it's time that but people don't know everything about us. So I think, my goal when we're here is to sort of fill it. So first of all, I guess to introduce ourselves to people who don't know us, because it's not everybody, even though we're well known. But to fill in the blanks, because people just maybe know a piece of us. Hey, you guys are
the X.
You guys, you guys are this X or Y, or and I go, no, we're much more than that. That's what we really want to inform. Here's what we do, and we have
be educational, kind of just like let people know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Yes.
And with your 18 years now with the company, how much has the company changed in your 18 yes there? Like, do you guys sell the same stuff you sold 18 years ago, or is it like a bazillion more things?
Our secret, part of our success, say it that way, is because we're focused. We're focused on filler metal. And every time over the years when somebody suggested to me or we talk about it, we say, we should add this. No, part of our success is that we're just really focused on filler metal. What we've done, though, is we've expanded our offering. We've expanded that filler metal line because, of course, again, like we talk about, our industry is quite broad. It takes us a long time because we're extremely careful about how we do that, because you only get that one chance to make a good first impression.
Right.
And when we introduce a product, boy, we really micromanage the daylights out of it.
Yeah, and the electrodes game, I'd say it's always been kind of an interesting market, because there's always specialty rods, there's always specialty situations and things that have been created for specific things. But it was always sort of like the big three, big four consumables players out there, electrodes players, for me coming up. And then now, 2024, I walk around a show floor like this and I see the variety. Like when I was coming up, it was like either you're running an Excalibur or you're running a Hobart, and that's it. Those are your two options. And if you're somewhere real fancy, they got OK55, and you're like, wow, that's a fancy one, and that kind of was it.
Yes.
Now you can see, and it's so much more accessible. Like, I got rock mount in my garage. Like, there's all these amazing, crazy companies coming up with all these, proprietary solutions. How do you manage navigating that world? What do you like? What do you want to bring in? What don't you bring in?
It's twofold. Sometimes there's some obvious ones where there are holes in the supply chain, and I go, gee, this particular category of product, for example, boy, there's tough time getting it, or difficulty, or an opinion, of course. But I go, gee, what's out there is not so nice. That's just doesn't, and today I think that's part of that change. This industry is exciting because you talked earlier about just new technology and things like that. The industry changes as to what it wants today. And today, there's a lot of new welders, and there's certainly a shortage of welders across our country. So the need for products that are easier to use is more important today than ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think, so that's a big focus. It has to meet all of the criteria to make that product acceptable and certified and things like that, and perform the way it should. But it also has to be really easy to operate, because today you've got a lot of new entry level people in welding and things like that. So ease is more important today than ever. You can say it was always important, more important than ever, I think, today.
And one of the things that we have here at CWB, always on the top of our minds, is sort of we're in the certification game. Right, so electrodes fall under certification codes, and it's something that we are quite stringent on here in Canada, much more so than many other countries, and often the countries that produce many of these electrodes.
Right.
We often get questions about, can I use this for this job? I got it overseas, or can I use that? And for us as a as a certification body, we have to navigate those waters pretty carefully because there's pretty tight rules. On the sales side, obviously you can sell theoretically whatever you wanted, but how does Exocor manage those certification standards in Canada when having to deal products?
That's a great question. I mean, first of all, everything we sell is fully traceable. That's again something that we're known for. So that helps out a lot because our product will do whatever we say it's going to do because we have that traceability with it. We give you an actual cert with it, not a typical.
Mm-hmm.
So today, like you're mentioning, more than ever, there's all kinds of things to consider. There's AML, like approved manufacturer list from people. The specs are tighter, So you have an AWS spec, and sometimes you've got a spec that's beyond that spec for that particular class of wire. Again, that focus just really helps us out because we've got a QA department at our company, and when we get an order with a variety of specs or a variety of questions attached to it, we really focus on it. It's important.
Yeah,
very important. More important today than ever.
Yeah. Do you guys test rods out on your own?
Absolutely.
Like, do you have a little weld lab where you can be like, hey, for me, it'd be like, let's go play with the rods, but I'm sure there's probably a business motive behind it.
Yes. We do actually, and we, I'll say we are better than ever at doing that. We'll take a pile of products and then we have a variety of criteria. We I've got two very talented people in our staff who do that for us, and we do a comparison. And of course, sales, I don't influence that at all. I mean, I want the actual results. You know what I mean? So we make that as certainly as impartial as we possibly can, and then it works.
Yeah. Now, access to information now is easier than ever. I can Google 90% of what I want to know about a product you're selling. How do you arm your sales team on that 10% that closes the deal? Because the client today may know just as much as you about certain things about the thing you're trying to sell them.
Yes.
But you gotta make the difference somehow, right?
Yes.
And what is that? What do you do?
Most of our people, we that saying that everybody talks about, we've got a website, but we're just in the midst of updating it or all that kind of stuff. It's sort of a perpetual statement you make. I'm really proud of our website because we pack a lot of information on there and we update it constantly. So we utilize that, and I tell my guys to utilize that because I want them to be using the same information that everybody gets to see. It's consistent. And then we have a chat line that I know that when I said, yes, I want a chat line or a system on our website, I go, I'm the wrong demographic because I never use that chat line. I never do for anything. But I know it's not all about me.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how much that gets used by our customers today.
I'm a Gen Xer. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm of the generation that we hate to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Right? Like I would rather not talk on the phone than just about anything in the world.
Right.
I like to converse through text and emails and messaging, and we use a chat system at work. It saves my life because that was one of the parts of business that I never liked was answering the phone, and I don't know why. It's very crucial to talk to people.
Yes.
But I felt like on the phone, it was like I lacked my own traceability. I would talk to someone and then I would forget what I had said or what I had promised and I'd lose track of it because it was like in the ether.
Right.
So for myself, I need it written down. So if you need something from me, put it in a text. I won't forget. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And that's the same as me. But the thing that I certainly have learned is that everybody has a different system. What surprised me most about our chat system, I always thought, it's going to be much younger guys than me, of course, or people than me who need access to that. But I was surprised because people who dealt with us for 20 years, as soon as
they were all over it. Yeah,
they were all over it. And I go, gee, and everybody's different how they communicate. And I prefer the phone.
Yeah,
I might prefer to answer the phone. Hey, let's have a conversation about this. But not everybody works that way.
Yeah.
So we want to have all those choices, basically. Gee, you want to send us an email? You want to talk, through our chat system? You want to call us on the phone? You want whatever. we still have people who fax us.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
I don't
So,
have a fax machine.
every once in a while we get we'll get a fax order. I go, wow, these guys still use fax. So you have to be prepared for
everything.
Whatever somebody's comfortable with. So
So what are some of the products that you would say are kind of your flagship products? The ones that people are going to know you for, or if they don't, they should.
they certainly know us probably on average for Cabelco.
Your specialty steels.
Yeah, well, Cabelco is a leader worldwide for flex cord stainless. So that's what
Okay.
they're known for.
Right.
So and that's interesting because I'll say more people know us because of that, probably or possibly than anything else. As we grow and as we've gained foothold in other areas and things like that, of course, we've expanded on that. But certainly, that's a big brand where we've been the exclusive provider for that product for Canada for many years, and we've got a great partnership with those guys. So Cabelco, cord wires, stainless steel in general. Stainless. When we started, we really our company started out, and its foundation was stainless steel and nickel, and we've grown from there. So we don't dominate many fields, certainly in Canada, with the mild steel and stuff like that. But stainless steel, we do. We've got an extremely large footprint in stainless steel and nickel, and we've earned it.
Yeah.
And we keep expanding that and keep working at that, keep refining that. Where we've grown from there is we add products incrementally, and very proud of the products that we've added as far as mild steel, right from 7018 to 70S6 to 71T1, T9, T12.
No.
Low alloy
You got
material.
all the bases covered now.
Almost all the bases. We certainly have the ones that we want to be. And if we don't have an answer, because, we have our partner mills that we work with to get exactly what we want, and we just don't do it. Because if we can't do it well, we don't
Someone else will have something for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great.
Now, you talked about stainless steels. I'm a lover of stainless steel.
Okay.
I probably got enough hexavalent chromium sticks in me to send me to the moon. I'll probably glow when I die.
Yeah.
But I worked in the stainless steel. I worked with stainless most of my career in mining industry.
Okay.
Right, for corrosion resistance and even nickel cladding in the potash mines and servicing the mine area. And stainless has exploded in the last decade.
Great.
For a long time, it was very fine to just have your 304, 308, 309, 316. And when I started, there was 324 around quite a bit. Now you don't see 324. I don't think I've seen it in a long time. 316, 308, 309 are kind of the basics. I don't know if 304 is around anymore, but
This is a base.
yeah, now you got the duplexes and the 22s, and you have all these new mixes of stainless. The nickel in canal world has exploded into a million varieties. How do you keep up with that, or how do you keep your products, I guess, broad enough to satisfy the majority of your customers?
We stay current. We're always looking at new products, testing and things like that. I didn't mention, but we represent exclusively special metals for Canada for nickel. And an interesting fact is that 80% of all the nickel alloys welded with today were invented by special metals.
Really?
Special metals is the grandson of Inco.
Okay.
That's where it came from.
Yeah.
So we use terms in our industry for nickel like Inconel and Manel. Those are all terms that are owned by special metals.
Yeah.
They're the Kleenex of nickel. You know what I mean? So really, and so I think the things that changed for us, because it's interesting. We talk about nickel, and years ago there was tons and tons of coated electrode was the big way to weld lots of nickel, of course.
Nyrod.
Their product, Nyrod. And today, people, again, that development of something easier to weld with, there's flux cord nickel. So those same things that you used to weld with years ago, that there were no flux cord options like 625 and 622, and that there are options today.
Early iterations of wired nickel, and it wouldn't make it down the liner. It would snap because it was such stiff wire.
Yeah,
right. It would keep the helix so hard you'd see your whip moving through the wire. And I remember being like, how are you going to do this? But stainless flux core is a dream. As poisonous as it is, wear your respirators, kids, fresh air respirators. And I'm sure it's gotten better. Like, companies are more vigilant of the poisons of stainless.
Yes.
But stainless flux core just goes in like a dream.
It does.
You know?
Yes, it does for sure. And and again, we're pleased to have a product that is the standard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cabelco is really well known for it. They actually have a hexavalent reduced chrome.
Oh, good.
Nickel, stainless steel flux cord wire out there these days. But yeah, they're it is a dream to weld. Right.
Yeah,
flux cord nickel is easy.
So what's your welding skills like now?
I don't weld very rarely. Very rarely do I pick up a torch these days. I'll say that they were fair to poor, years ago, just from testing. I was like a lot of people in our industry. Gee, I could muster through a product demonstration, and then of course I'd step my distributor days, be demoing it near a bona fide, really high quality welder.
Yeah.
So they
would
watch
do it.
me struggle through for a minute, and I go, "You can make this look a lot better than I just did. Try it." And that's what you became expert at. So no, I don't weld too much today.
So you've been with the company a long time. You've been in this field a long time. What do you think for you are the biggest things you've seen change in industry in the last 20 years?
I think this business has grown more and more. I think it's bigger today than I thought it would, and I probably thought it would be. And a lot of things I'll say I didn't recognize. I think the technology and equipment today. We don't sell equipment, of course, but the advances in equipment is just mind-boggling. To me, it seemed like the last 10 years have been the more profound than the previous 15 years prior to that. So I think just trying to stay somewhat current with those details and those advancements, I think, are amazing. Automation, which we've always talked about for years, is coming. It's so much more commonplace. I remember years ago, hey, you guys have a welding robot or something like that. Of course, those days are far beyond that, or orbital welding or things like that. I'm not going to say they're mundane, but they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're around. Yeah, and
I think we're going to see more and more of that. I think that's going to continue down that trajectory because we need to. Expensive craft.
In the consumables world, like for electrodes, what do you think is trending now? Like, do you see more wired products as we start to get away from? And this is things that I'm heard. I'm paraphrasing other people, but we seem to be getting away from TIG, getting more into like a semi-automatic process for speed, for cleanliness, and stuff like that. Do you see a trend?
I do. I think that when we talked about TIG we'd only discussed TIG in a manual breath. Hey, this is they're TIG welding. It's all manual. But today, of course, we have automated TIG. Which is just profound. So I think the processes remain the same. It's still TIG welding with a whole bunch of advancements attached to it.
And a roll of wire now, not
and a roll of wire now versus cut length. You're right.
Yeah.
And I think that you're just going to see that productivity is important. I talked about, how the specs are more advanced today. I mean, impacts are everybody wants greater impacts on a lot of the welding that they're doing today and things like that. So I think automation and even tighter specs.
Where do you see it going? You come to shows like this to kind of get the pulse, right, of advancements. But I'm sure your company, like many of the companies here, they're already thinking 5 years down the road, trying to figure out what's the next big thing on the horizon to get on it. What are you looking for?
I think you mentioned it just a little while ago about when you talked about health and safety, and welding fumes and things like that. There's lots of products out here to capture weld fume and things of that nature, but producing wires that produce less hazardous things in that weld
that fixes
fuel.
it right off the top.
Right, absolutely. So you really not eliminate it. You
control
it much more to a great degree at the source. I think is important as well. And again, that adage that I started out earlier, where things need to be easier to weld with today. They really do, and of course more productive. The cost of labor's high. We want to keep
electricity's high. Everything's high.
Everything's expensive these days. So you need to be more productive. And we always used to talk about it, but years ago it would be, well, we're going to be more efficient because we want to pay 20 cents less a pound for this. Today I think the productivity wins out over that. How about if I made you weld 20% faster?
Yeah.
Or if I reduced your cleanup by 50% or something like that. And I think it's just a smarter society. It's a smarter decisions, I'd say, out there,
I have noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be tougher in days gone by. Hey, you're going to pay 25 cents a pound more for this product, but you'll make it up on, and here's why. And yeah, I'll still go with the old stuff. 25 cents is cheaper,
Yeah.
But not today. People do get it. They do understand.
I've seen that lots. As you made those comments, I really agree wholeheartedly. I think there's a new type of consumer even in the shops now. This next generations that are coming up are not so concerned with price. They're more concerned with quality or efficiencies or redundancies or all the C's that they want to do. But I think they grew up in a generation where they saw everyone trying to be as cheap as possible and not get ahead. That's not what makes your business thrive, is being cheap. What makes your business thrive is having good business practices.
100%. 100%. I'd walk into shops and I go, I don't hear any welding going on right now. But you're really happy because you save money on that product that you bought, but there's a problem with it right now. There's a stoppage. Or I hear people grinding a lot more than they could or should. Right. Yeah. So, I thought they were welders. You know what I mean? So.
Well, every bad welder is a good grinder. So,
yes. Well said.
Yeah. Now, for Exocor, your company has grown. The company has grown also lots over the years. Is there any desire to branch out? You said, like different type of products. There must be it must come up every now and then, like maybe we can get into X games since it's sort of related to what we do, right?
It does come up, but we don't. Every time we sort of steel ourselves, we discipline ourselves and say, gee, our home is filler metal. That's what we want to continue to do. So we will be adding some new products to our portfolio. We do it slowly. But I think the biggest thing for us is geography. We're growing in areas that we didn't exist. I'll tell you, we have offices in strategic areas in Canada, which we've always had, and we've expanded those, and we've increased their size and things like that. It's south that we're going, actually, and our big focus for us is expanding what we do in the States. And I'll tell you, I'm not too ashamed to say, we sort of took the U.S. for granted. It was always a bonus. Gee, we didn't make ourselves easy to be found in the States, and then we would get these orders. Oh, people found us.
Oh, cool.
Sister company. With GBO, this is great. And then formalize this. So today we've got, we just doubled the size of our office in Buffalo. We've got people on the road, and we thought we would expand slowly in the States, but we really sped that up because of demand. So we've got people in the field, we've got logistical warehouses in Atlanta and Dallas, and that's going to be growth for us, and it'll be long after I'm finished. We'll still be expanding. That's a big market down there, but we see a place for us. So that's our. Well,
that's interesting because like it's in many aspects. You look at the U.S. market as a saturated market, but there is niches to hammer out, right? And the thing about the U.S. is that it's 380 million people, so a little niche is millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
Right? So finding it's not those, like I always tell people, in the U.S., either you're a millionaire or you're pushing a cart down the street. It's kind of one or the other.
There's a bigger spread there, I would say, for sure. You're right. And we've discovered there aren't as many people like us that just focus on filler metal. So again, that tells us there's like I said, we thought there was a place for us there just because somebody would call us up from
wherever,
the oil district, from somewhere, Texas, looking for some unusual alloy that we have on our shelf, 1682, and they need a pile of it. We know about that product. We know how to weld it. We know how to supply it. We know the things you're looking for in it, and we would supply it, and we would take it for granted is what we would do. But today we're formalizing that. Yeah. We've got great growth down there. So,
do you market yourselves? And this might be getting a little deep in the weeds here, but moving into the U.S., do you market yourself as a Canadian company? Are you saying like, hey, we're here from Canada, it comes from Canada, even though like wherever it comes from, but or do you position yourself as this is Exocor USA because the system down there does. They watch that,
That's a great question because I'll tell you when we first started. I'll tell you how we first started. We started out, and I would have some of the Canadian guys go down to the States and try and sell.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work actually at all.
You need American guys to sell to Americans.
You need American guys, and we're this is our neighbor to the south, and we're so similar, and we have lots of common things. boy, there's a difference. And so to answer your question, we don't hide the fact that we're Canadian based. But we also talk about the roots that we put down in the States, the investment that we put down in the States, to say that, hey, we're part of this as well. And there's no hesitation when we talk about, hey, we're a Canadian-based company. It doesn't seem to hold us back or hurt us.
Good.
So,
is there plans for outside the Americas? You guys looking at Mexico? You guys going south?
we do a little bit, but I think the U.S. is going to keep us busy enough, to be honest with you. But so again, I'll say we're with other countries, Mexico being one of them, where that's kind of the stuff that does find its way to us, and we're really not going to develop that other than we'll just take those as
if they come.
If they come, we'll talk. We'll help out. We'll do whatever we can. And we it's funny that the calls that we get from and where we supply stuff. We supply stuff into Asia, and things like that. That still surprise me, but there's always a reason. Well, they're connected to another company, or they like some product that we had and they've written it into a spec or something like that. But no, we'll be busy enough focusing on the States for a long time. I'll be long retired, I think, before.
Well, you've brought that up a couple times. Are you pulling the trigger soon here?
No, not at all. No. My wife
should people be sending in resumes to Exocor?
No. I enjoy what I do. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. We're having lots of success, and I like it. I mean, it's everything's a job. Every day is not a picnic, but it's good. It's fun.
Specifically in terms of the relationship with the CWB and the CWB Association that we work in. Your company, your group is a part of our supplier committee. You guys help sponsor many of our events. They're involved with what we do. What's the desire and reasoning for a company like Exocor to work with a not-for-profit like the association?
I'm going to say we like dealing with CWB. I was trying to say, we like it better today. You know what the difference is? You're more visible, you're out there more, you know what I mean? And before it was always just hard to, honestly, just hard to get people to talk, and get a question answered and things like that. Today it's much easier. And that interaction has just helped us, I'll say, develop our relationship with CWB. Just that, I know many of your people, and they're all helpful. You know what I mean? And before it was long time for an answer. Sometimes
I remember waiting on that 1-800 numbers line as a shop owner and as a welder, and thinking, there's got to be a better way to talk to these guys.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, a lot of my questions and conversations have to do with certification of filler metal. So, sometimes it would just be painful and not to over pick on it, but today it's way different. It's far better. It's open. It's the communication is just far better, I think, today.
You have to adapt, right? Yeah. We needed to adapt, and that's a big part. And plus, I mean, my focus is the people, right? That's my focus. I was coming in as a manager in the company. It's like, all right, well, we have our product, we have our stuff. Big deal, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't got a client base that is looking for what you have, who cares?
100%. Right, 100%.
So let's stop focusing on how great our things are and start thinking about how great our client is and getting our stuff to them, right?
That's listening to your client. It's listening to your customer, and I think that's a secret. That's what we certainly try to do at our company, and I think the CWB listens today more than ever. And we have very productive conversations, especially.
And you have to deal with us on a number of levels, right?
So, absolutely, for sure. And like I say, they're just much more successful. I've almost, until you ask the question, I almost forget what they were like, but I can recall. I can recall pretty easily, and it was just frustrating is the answer I'd come up with. Oh my gosh, But today it's quick. You're way faster, and just more
approachable. I don't know.
I was going to say reasonable. I mean, you have rules to follow, but just the communication's better. Just far better. So
what's on the horizon now? What do you see for Exocor in the next 5 years, aside from the expansion into the U.S.?
Well, something that we've done. Again, I talked to you about the stuff that we had lots of success, and sometimes you ignore the things you shouldn't. We've paid a lot more attention to marketing today, and we always had a good website. We always had good documentation. We always had good information, but now we do a better job of getting that out there. We participate in events like this where we really did not used to in the past. We do far more open houses. We've got a really good marketing guy on staff who's been with us for over 20 years, and he's really good at it. So, I mean, we've just developed that. It's more important.
Yeah.
I mean, we sort of took for granted. We just, when you're having success, sometimes you don't examine those things.
That's right.
And now we look at it when, geez, some of our customers would press us for some marketing tools and some marketing information. Our distributors. We deal with a lot of distributors who are great partners of ours. And they would say, hey, why don't you have this, or why don't you have that, or why don't you, and that's what we're really doing. That's what we're.
What I've noticed in the conferences, and I think to your point, is that there's been a bit of a flip. I would say 10, 15 years ago, the conferences were heavily ran by the biggest players.
Right.
Right. It was almost like it's not, the Weld Expo, it was the Lincoln Expo, or, I agree. It had this kind of vibe to it. And all the smaller niche markets didn't see the value in going to conferences because it's like, well, we're niche. Like, if the customer needs us, they'll find us because we're the only one that has that thing that they need.
Right.
And I think that now it's kind of flipped around where you're seeing that the niche companies actually see the value in this because, hey, more people might need you that you even know.
You're right.
And they just don't know what they don't know. So if you don't get in front of them, you're just not going to make that connection. Yep. Whereas... And not to harp on the Lincolns and the Millers and the ESABs, but people know what you got.
Yes.
People know what you got. And everyone's used it. Everyone knows what the 3 dots on the 7018 are. You know exactly what rod that is. And I don't know if they get the same value out of this type of show as, say, a smaller vendor or company.
I agree. No matter how I said we've had lots of growth, lots of success, being at a show like this just reminds me there's some people who don't know us still, or they know us just for one thing, you know, and really you do all these other things, and that's an interesting, not a wake-up call. I know it exists, but it's just a
reminder.
It's a reminder, it's a refreshing reminder because, again, that's why we want to participate in these things, and we'll come by, and just because we've got something displayed in a booth, they'll go, wow, I didn't know you. Thought you were the stainless guys, and that's really all you do, stainless and nickel. You have mild steel as well, or something along those lines. And it's just a good opportunity to meet people in an environment that just promotes conversation and discussion, and great opportunity for that.
Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap up the interview here pretty quick, but for the people that are listening, how do they find out about you guys? Where do they go to find your stuff?
Best thing is just to go to our website. I bragged about it a little bit. We get, it's not just me thinking that way. I get that feedback from our customers. Just go to exocor.com and find out more about us.
Awesome. And what about if people are interested in the company? They want to talk to a rep, or same thing, just through the website?
Through the website, yeah. You'll get, we've really worked hard. We've always had a good system of communication within our company, and I'd say it's better than ever. So if you contact our company through our website, through our chat line, actually, that I just talked about, you'll get to the right people.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a really good time with the show today. I hope you get to walk around and check out the other booths. This is my issue. I always working the shows. I don't ever get to see the show. I hope you get some time to do that today.
I will, for sure. I will.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Well, and for everyone that's been following along, we're going to be doing many more podcasts here at Fabtech. Thank you to Cooper Heat, who is our sponsor here at the podcast booth, and to many of our sponsors that are helping us. Last night we had our industry party with CWS. And that was great time. So, over the next 2 days, make sure you catch all our episodes. And if you ever get a chance to come to CanWeld or a Fabtech, make sure you do. All right? So stay tuned for the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed the show.